when I got the feedback from council that they had heard from people that they want the off-street parking requirement in there. And as somebody who's appointed to this board because of my expertise and background, I just kind of wondered, what am I here for if, they're going to take the advice of some people over me? So I wanted to make sure that they had all of the information that backs up my position on getting rid of off-street parking requirements in our city code. So I went and did my homework and put together an annotated bibliography, and I guess I kind of would like to give council the opportunity to adopt the rules they want to adopt. So I don't necessarily want to advocate for us to stand firm on it if that's not what everybody else wants to do. But I did want to make it clear to council that when I make suggestions to them as to land use policy decisions, I do it from a place that's informed by research. And so I wanted to make sure they had all the background information on the science behind off-street parking requirements and how they contribute to traffic congestion. And I know it's a counterintuitive argument to make, and so it's a difficult one, especially when people know for certain that they can't find parking. But if we have off-street parking requirements, minimum parking requirements in our code, we will build a city that is increasingly less dense, that's more expensive, that contributes to climate change. And so here we have an opportunity to adopt a rule that is backed by science and backed by research and will lead to better outcomes for the city.
So it does sound intuitive. I think what I'm hearing is if you build places off of the streets for cars to be, those cars, then there's going to be more cars flooding the streets.
It's an incentive for car owners. It's a subsidy for car owners at the expense of people who don't own cars.
So if you have less room in the community for cars to be, there's going to be less cars.
Right.
What do you say about the lousy public transportation we have?
In my letter, I note that we have excellent public transportation. For a suburban community of 20,000 people, to have the transit options we do is remarkable. And that's because our city has made a concerted commitment to sustainability and to transit. And so it's kind of remarkable to me to see, and I said in my letter that this would be like asking the Community Sustainability Advisory Board to adopt a position against climate change.
How often do you take public transportation?
I try to do it at least once a month. Take the train over to Red Rocks.
But I think the point is, if it's more difficult to have a car, there's going to be less cars.
Yeah, there's less cars, but
Right.
how do people get around? That's the thing we got to look at.
Fred, look, again, I just ask you to read the research. I can explain it to you, but I think I know you guys don't want to hear a lecture.
I know.
So look at the research. And you'll learn exactly, and there's a really interesting one that came out just a couple years ago that actually pieced together the causative effects. The impact on the built form of the city from the policies that we have influences people's travel behaviors. And so the research now is longitudinal enough and it's broad enough over a geographic area that we can say definitively that cities that have minimum off-street parking requirements have more vehicle miles traveled, they have more traffic congestion, and people spend more time in their cars driving around than they do in a denser city.
I'll read it. Public transportation here, in my opinion, is lousy.